Okay, so in this video I'll just show you how to add your first-person controller and also how to add a light source so that you can actually see what you're doing as you're walking around. So you've got your terrain here, I'll just select that, and you're all ready to explore it and see how great it looks when you've textured it up. And so in your project folder over here on the left-hand side at the bottom, you'll notice there's a whole bunch of assets, and hopefully under standard assets, if you open up that folder there, click on standard assets, you will see within it some subfolders, and you want the one that is called character controllers. If you double click on that, it opens up the folder, and inside you'll see two objects: the third person controller, which is a little builder that you can run around with, or the first person controller, which is just a capsule with a camera attached, and so you basically feel as if you're looking at that camera, so it immerses you in the game. We're going to go ahead and use the first person controller. So all you would do is just click on it in here down and drag it onto your scene. Now things you need to be aware of though is when you do this, it's likely not to be sitting nicely on top of your terrain. So the easiest thing here is with my cursor in the scene is pressing F to bring it into focus, and you can see when I zoom in he's actually half under the terrain. Now at the top left here, when you've got them selected, you'll see this button with the two arrows. You can press W to bring that button up as well. You can now just drag your capsule, your first person controller, above the terrain. Okay, so now if you press play at the top here to explore your map, we're now inside it. You can see I'm moving around, however it's all just silhouettes, and that is because there's no light source. So I'll just stop that, and what we need to do is add a light source. So under game object at the top here, if you come down, if you're in the most recent version of Unity, you'll need to go to light and choose, we'll go with directional light. If you have an older version of Unity, then go to the game object menu and under create other, choose directional light. Okay. So when you do that, that will create a new object here in your hierarchy. You can see directional light. You can move that around on the screen, again using these buttons at the top left here with the arrows. And so you can move it up, move them around to wherever you need them to go. And other things over here under the inspector, you can see some settings. Now right now the default light is pure white. You might find that a little bit unnatural. You might want to, if you click on that, you might want just to change the shading of it ever so slightly, not greatly, but just a little bit of colour to it. And also it doesn't cast shadows, so I'm just going to change that over to hard shadows. And feel free to play around with these settings. So now when I play the game, hopefully I can actually see what I'm doing. There I am looking at the texture I applied, my dirt texture, and here's my mountain, which is heavily in shadow because of the location of the light source. And you can see if I look down, there's the second texture we applied earlier. So if I back off a bit, you can see how the shadow has been cast by the mountain. So the light source is up to the side there. So that is how you add a first person controller and a directional light so that you can actually see what you're doing.